Yeah, I ain't got shit.
Nope, I got nothing.
Wow. Okay, so if we need to do a stealth mission, we're just screwed.
I'm pretty
What's a stealth
stealthy.
mission?
It's one where you kill anybody who sees you before they can raise the alarm.
That
Too
was
easy.
a
There are
joke.
2 types of stealth missions. There's the one where nobody sees you, and there's the one where nobody alive sees you.
Nobody's left
There's the
alive.
one where nobody sees you and there are no bodies, and then there's the other one where there are bodies.
That are alive or dead?
Yes. Just yes.
Yes.
Whichever one causes more chaos and involves more things being on fire, that did not need to be on fire.
All
I
right.
mean, I always have access to charm person and disguise self, so I mean, I can just essentially.
So you can charm people and disguise yourself?
Do the Jedi thing. I am not the cleric you are looking for.
All right.
Yeah.
So, question.
Yes.
There are 3 ways you can travel. You can be slow, medium, so normal, or fast.
And what are the advantages and disadvantages?
Slow increases your passive perception by 5.
Okay.
Normal is normal passive perception. Fast is passive perception minus 5.
I personally vote that we do normal unless one of his little butterflies has sensed something, and then we move to slow. But I'm open to suggestions.
I think that normal is probably a good idea. I was hoping that the familiar scouting for us would help out. Let me look up.
Works for me.
Let me look up what the perception on my familiar is.
Yeah, give everybody type in their passive perception. Does your character sheets have it? Let me see.
I have perception.
Should.
I don't think
Definitely
this
here
character sheet has it.
somewhere.
It should be on here.
I don't remember it being on here when I was doing all my shit.
Maybe they thought it wasn't important.
Well, I mean,
In
I
any
have
case,
it.
it's going to be your bonus. It's going to be your bonus plus 10, if I'm remembering right.
I
and-
have it on.
Oh,
My perception
13.
is my passive perception is 16.
Okay.
Mine is 9, but
It's not. No. So, passive perception is what you passively see. So, if you're walking and
Yeah, mine
it's your
is 16.
normal. Okay. Well, you rolled perception.
Yeah, I know what I rolled, but I'm looking at it and it says
Okay.
passive perception 16.
Just want to make sure that we're clear on passive versus active.
Where does it say it on your?
So whenever you're looking at
Sheet.
attributes, you'll
Right.
see all of your stuff like animal handling, and, athletics and
Oh.
stuff. The stuff that's in the
Oh,
quotations to
it's
the
got
right
it.
is your
Passive.
passive.
It's
Son
got it
of a
right next
bitch.
to it. That's really nice.
Look at you.
Yep.
All right, you
And
want
then
me
to
to
the
type
left
in the
of that,
chat?
you have the +6. Or
Yes,
whatever
type it in
is.
chat.
oh yeah, okay. They actually have passive for every single ability.
Which is true. There is a passive for every ability. We just don't use all of them.
Hey,
Yeah.
who's
Sometimes.
moving my shit?
Cody, something I really enjoy about Foundry is you can tell players to make perception checks blind to GM, so they don't know what their result was.
That's fine.
You can do that even if
rolls.
there's nothing to perceive.
Well, of course I can. Is there messages? Can I send messages to people?
Yes, /W and then type in their name.
Kevin. No target exists.
I think it's the player name.
No, okay. Can you change my name from Kevin? No, it's going to remain Kevin.
Who's Kevin?
Cruel and unusual.
You're a bitch. Those be fighting words, Kevin. Flicker tree / flicker tree.
Jesus. It's
Aha!
slash
I think
Kevin.
it needs to be slash Jekyll.
It's slash. No, my name is Kevin.
No, I'm saying it's the player name, not the character name.
Oh.
It's not your account name, it's your character's name.
Hey, what's up, Kevin?
So, we have Ronan, Luz, Jekyll, Game Master, and for some reason, Dum Dum.
And Kevin.
And Kevin.
Kevin is apparently what that token is named.
Yep.
Reminds me of the
It makes you feel better. Your character is still named Flicker Tree. It's
Despicable Me.
Kevin gives no fucks.
wait. Do we have?
Honestly, I don't know how to do. Oh wait. Oh, I can make it private. Nice. Build everyone. That's. Hey, don't say that fuck word with me. I'll make it private. Anyways, so
Even better, you can just delete their message.
oh, I know I can. I have the power.
Thundercats, go!
I know it's /W Flicker Tree.
Hey, should we have like a team name? Like a group name? Like,
Okay.
what do we call it? What do we call
I
it?
don't feel like we've earned a group name yet. We need to wait until our first major disaster.
Oh yeah. So good messages
Us
are
getting
working, which is
together
awesome.
is a success.
Did that work?
Yes, it did.
Okay, cool.
If I found out if you do /W and then a name that doesn't exist and hit enter, it says no target user exists for the whisper.
Cool.
So
We
if
could
it's
have /W. Oh.
so if it doesn't work, then yeah. Is it /WGM? Oh yeah, /WGM will send it to me directly.
Yep. Okay, I was wrong. So you can either do the player name or the character name. So anything which is written in the lower left-hand corner.
Oh, okay. Close. Got it. User configuration. Can I release character, save configuration? Sheet. Oh, okay. Interesting. I'll have to change everybody's names after today's session. Damn, it sucks.
Here, I might be able to. Here,
Slash
I'm gonna.
5D 100 or /roll
Hey.
5D
Okay.
100. You take
No,
262
it's-
lightning damage.
That's all.
Stay still so I can fix your character.
All right. Anyways, so you guys start walking. I'm guessing.
Yep.
Evan starts walking, yes.
Everyone starts walking.
Yep.
Everybody, we walk through the forest. So typical kind of activity. There's various kind of like sounds and noises around, various animals.
Okay, I fixed your token.
That works.
Nice. Ah, good one.
Leave me alone.
Also, if you click on your token, you can use the left and right arrows, or the arrows, to move your character around. If you didn't know.
That's how I can do this.
Whee!
I'm a fairy. I can fly fast.
So as a fairy, are you just able to fly all the time?
No, DM won't let me.
You can fly normally when you're at ground level. When you get too high, you can't maintain
Well, yeah.
flight.
I just don't want to walk because I'm lazy.
Yeah. About
Light
6
bulb.
feet,
Don't
about
touch
6
the
feet
ground.
off of the ground, you can hover and fly around 6 feet, no problems.
Even when you fly, I still look down on you.
Yep. I am a fairy.
That's funny.
I'll probably just hover around 5 feet.
When
you, can just hang out, you can hang out on my shell, dude.
That works too. Fucking little perch.
of course,
Oh, yeah.
fairies are a
And-
little
and-
different than
And
Aracroa.
your, what you gonna call it?
Because
Your circle of
Aracroa,
spores. Oh.
their wings are their hands, and people are like, I stay in
Yeah.
the sky and fire a bow. Like, you can't. Like, why not? Because your wings are your hands.
Oh.
In order to maintain flight, you must keep using your hands.
I use summon weapon, and it's a bow.
That's a way to get around it.
It requires being very good with Mage Hand.
But yeah, if he wants to hang out on my shell, that's totally fine. He's got circle spores, so it's not going to affect him negatively at all.
All right.
So,
So as you guys are making your way through, go ahead and roll me perception.
We do it a blind GM roll.
Yeah, blind GM roll. I would say blind GM roll unless I say otherwise.
Okay, so always blind roll.
Yes.
I like that.
Okay.
How do I
and
roll?
I know you can see all their rolls, Ronan. That will be fixed in the next game.
Yep. Is this site-based?
Well, how would you? This is your normal perception. So, however you would normally be perceiving.
What's the command to roll the dice?
So, if you go into your character sheet, I would say for you, always have your character sheet open.
Okay.
And you should also, there's a button up above at the top that has like a little arrow pop out, and you should be able to pop that out.
Okay.
If it does, it won't let me because I guess I have to allow my browser settings. But if you pop it out, you can have it moved around if you have multiple screens or whatnot, so it won't take up. But if you click the perception, so if you look on your screen and you see perception, you can just click on perception itself and it will roll it for you. There you go. Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
And I also rolled for the familiars.
Yes. Don't you have 3 familiars currently?
Yes.
So what I want
can
to
see.
make it easier, if you do multiple familiars, it'll be all familiars on the same check. So it'll
Okay.
be your perception and then their perception. Just because every time, like if you have multiple familiars out like that, you have to roll 3 times for everything or whatnot. And it'll get over encumbering and hard to see.
Okay.
So okay, Ronan, tell me how the connection works. Are you always
I can-
perceiving through them?
No, they communicate with me telepathically, and I've given them instructions to alert me to any danger or any potential resources.
Okay.
And I can, as an action, start seeing I can basically switch to their senses instead of mine as an action.
Okay. So it's not an active connection. You have to actively engage that familiar in order to see through them.
Yep.
Excuse me. It's not a passive thing. You're not passively seeing through all the time. You have to establish an active connection.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
The telepathy is passive the seeing through their senses.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
active.
yeah. So all they're coming through you. All you can hear from them is just the so far, critters, animals of the forest, things that actually thrive in the forest, birds, skunks, deer, etc., etc.
Like normal animals.
They have a little bit easier time seeing just because they're farther away from you. Flicker tree.
Yeah.
You catch some glimpses of some various animals. Most animals tend to stay away from parties.
Which number are you going by?
Oh, you have two
For
of
my
them.
The first one is the actual skill check. I was just testing my macro on the second one.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going by. Is you're
Okay.
18.
Just making sure.
Also, make sure you send it to me. You send
Yep.
it to the group.
Yep.
All right, yeah, that's what I was going by. So you catch glimpses of different animals and whatnot, but they're more like on the outskirts, the border, up like 600 feet away,
Okay.
give or take. Most animals will tend to bypass. There are definitely sometimes, especially the deeper. Other adventurers have noted, especially when you go deeper into the woods, where animals are less familiar with race contact. And they will sometimes kind of like look at you and be like, like what is this kind of thing? But
Like run off.
those that live near the fires tend to spook a little bit easier. But you kind of catch some glimpses, and there's not a whole lot going on.
Okay.
And you guys are traveling. Are you traveling in one direction?
I would assume so.
I think that's for the best.
Okay. I would like
Exactly.
somebody to roll me a 1d6 dice.
I'll roll it. Why is it going to Ronan too?
Because
Oh,
Ronan
he's a game
is
master.
yeah,
Duh.
he's technically as a game master. I got to fix that. We did it for
Yeah.
last session so that he could help set stuff up.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
Don't like that look.
Okay. So you guys travel for about an hour. Very little is seen. The woods do start to get a little bit thicker. Things are starting to kind of get more dense as you're pushing through. Still, the going is fairly good. You guys don't really see a whole lot. Go ahead and roll me perception again.
Okay, so Cody, you said I should roll all the perception for the
Yeah, all the
together?
perception for all of them at the same time.
Okay. And then I'll just give you the highest results.
Yep. Okay. All right. So, Morgans,
Yeah.
you get a feeling that one of your familiars is seeing something kind of odd. It looks a little different than normal forest floor, and they're not entirely sure what it is.
I would like to use my action. I'm going to raise a hand just so the group pauses for a second. Use my action to see through its eyes.
Okay. Lewis, you hear kind of a very faint creaking. It's almost imperceptive. With you guys being, like alert and careful, it's your first trip in. and whatnot, there's just kind of this just kind of sound, but it's so low, especially with comparison to everything else, that if you hadn't picked it up, it would have been very easy to have like been like, oh, it's just background noise. Morians, you see normal forest floor through your eyes. There is definitely a spot that's different, and it's not like such a drastic change that it's, you know, something that's instantaneously noticeable. But because your familiars are fairly high in perception, in their senses and whatnot, they can kind of get a whiff of it. You get kind of a sense of a musty, rotten wood kind of smell. And the patch on the ground is kind of a blocky section of leaves that kind of are coated over an area. The change in the shape of the leaves as they move across from normal around onto the spot, they kind of darken a little bit. There is also some fungus in some areas.
Oh, the druid probably did it.
The what?
I think the druid probably did it.
Hey.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
I'm gonna share this information with the group. All of you are probably listening, so I won't repeat it. In particular, I want to ask Silver, who's supposed to be our guide, if he knows what this might be.
Silver does not know.
That's probably a bad sign. I propose that we investigate further, though this may put us in harm's way.
Full send.
Okay.
Let's go.
What you've seen is kind of to the you guys are heading in the general north direction, or what you feel like is north. This is kind of to the northeastern side. You guys have been kind of fairly on an okay in terms of like quality or whatnot game trail. Definitely probably deer based on the tracks that you've seen. So you'd have to get off of the path in order to go see this, and it's roughly 400 feet away.
Let's approach slowly and carefully.
Okay, so you guys step off the path as you move through a way. It's a little bit more difficult going in terms of that. Morians is going. Who else is following?
I am, but I propose to move at a slow pace.
For sure.
Yeah, I'll follow too, but at a slow pace, kind of suspicious from that creaking sound I heard.
Yep,
Okay.
I will go slowly.
All right. In this term,
there's
so
some guy there. It just seems right up your ally.
the slow, medium, and fast is more of like the distance traveling kind of thing. To me, it's kind of a given, unless you specifically state otherwise. That because it's harder to go through. But anyways, I digress. So as you guys make your way through, it's a little bit harder going through, trying to get through the shrub and the bush and stuff. But you managed to make it over there. And you guys are seeing the same thing that I described before. There's a section of ground that is more discolored than everything else. It's darker. The leaves are typically darker. There's more moss along the area, as if there might be something there or something that had been there. For those who has good sense of smell,
What would that fall under?
if it's specifically like the tabaxi have a good sense of smell.
That would not be me. Well,
I'm a fae.
Would
so
you
that seems nice.
would you count that like being under survival kind of thing? Being able to smell
You could roll survival if you'd like to. Yep.
it? Yeah, I am.
If you'd like to give it a shot.
I will roll survival as well.
Nice roll. Not.
Would insight help?
No, insight. So insight is more of like determining somebody's intent. So typically used on other entities.
Okay.
Whereas like if somebody's like you've got a rogue and a bard and they're talking to each other, and the rogue is trying to lie about finding out a sack of 100 gold. Insight would be what's used if you suspect that they're possibly lying, especially if they're actively using deception. You'd use I just lost the name for it. Anyways, you'd use that to try and deceive or to see through their deception.
Did my roll do anything?
Okay.
Yes, in fact it did. It is definitely just a great, like, it smells really good. The day is kind of nice. The world is, quiet. You're out in the woods. It's just a comfortable day.
Crap.
Okay, so nothing.
So nobody really notices, but
Should I light this on fire?
Just fucking oh shit. We're just going ham already, huh?
I say no.
Yeah, I vote no.
I think we should investigate and see, like, it does look a little dark. Maybe it's like a trap door or something. I don't fucking know.
well, what are you guys gonna do?
Not set it on. I mean, if he wants to set it on fire, I can't control it, but I advise against it.
I'll poke it with my spear.
You're gonna poke it with a spear?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go ahead and poke it with a spear, and you feel something fairly solid. Whereas, like, ground, like you poke the ground, you know how there's like some give? Even in stiff ground, you have some give. No, this is fairly solid. It definitely penetrates through the leaves on top, but it's fairly solid. You're not really sinking at all once you get through those leaves.
Is it like hitting a wood door or something?
And you have no idea. Like it's just solid. There's something solid under the leaves that doesn't feel like regular dirt.
I think we should try to brush away the leaves. I'll try to brush away the leaves.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me survival.
I guess so.
I was just thinking, I really chose a poor campaign to dump wisdom and survival and perception for.
That's fine. You just need to burninate the countryside. So you kneel down, fairly no kind of problems, and you just start to brush, gently brush the leaves away and whatnot. You don't get splinters, luckily enough. Good job.
Thanks.
But you manage to brush off, and you guys see just a chunk of wood. There are some kind of dents and divots in it, but it looks like a wooden wall that fell over. It looks fairly well treated. Something that takes a long time to rot. It is rotting, most definitely. And once you kind of brush away the leaves, you get that whole musky, rotten wood smell. But it's like this is nowhere near the type of rot that you would see from something well built. The rot is seems to be fairly new or recent. In the past several weeks or months.
Okay. And we just see it laying on the ground.
Yeah, it's just laying on the ground. He's only kind of wiped away some of the area. It definitely covers a fairly sizable chunk.
Could one of us stand guard while the rest come excavating this?
Yeah, I'll just float around because I doubt that I can help lift it.
How strong are your wings?
I mean, I'm strong, but probably it's a different class of strong being a small creature.
So who's
I
watching
don't know
guard?
how does that work, DM?
I'll watch guard with the fairy.
Well, it's basically whoever wants to help would do like a help. So it's really only two people. One would roll kind of like a strength check in order to see if they can lift, athletics check in order to see if they can lift it up.
Well,
If
no, like,
somebody wants to assist that person who's doing that, then that person will get advantage. So they'll roll advantage on that, which is 2d20s.
Sure, I'll help out.
My question is, like,
I'll help too.
is strength just across the board like the same, or is strength different for each size of creature? Because since I'm small, would that mean that I have a good strength for being small, or is it just across the board kind of strength?
So when it comes to sizes, that's typically in regards to weapon damage, but it also comes into play like how much can you lift.
That's
So
why I'm asking.
your lift size would be much reduced.
So that's what I'm saying. So since I'm a small creature, my strength is really good for small creature, but not necessarily good for medium or large,
Yeah.
essentially.
So in terms, you typically are faster than other creatures, but
Right.
you're also easier to hit, or you're harder. You're typically faster and harder to hit. But you have less hit points on average, and you don't have the lifting of everything else.
Right. Yeah. That I just wanted to clarify that I've never played such a small.
Yeah,
Creature
that's
before.
understandable. Are you tiny or are you small?
I'm considered small according to D&D.
You're considered small according to D&D.
They do not consider fairies a tiny class. Or
No,
a
they didn't.
race.
They didn't want to make a playable tiny race. They thought that would be too complicated.
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't think 5e technically has any differences between it, other than what's already been given in the class.
Right.
So you would be the same as, like a kobold or a gnome. That's your category.
Yeah, you're still going to take up the standard 5x5 square. There might be special rules if you're trying to use a heavy weapon, but given that you're a druid, it will literally never come up, so don't worry.
Yeah,
The only reason why I ask is we, like in this instance, we're lifting something.
yeah. In terms of lifting, you're not going to be able to lift the same as somebody else.
Like I
Somebody
said,
who's
so
medium.
I have a good strength for my size.
Hold on. Modifying creatures or templates. Alignment. Hit point. Okay. Yeah, they don't really have sizes. The big thing is like what size you can do. If you have a weapon for a size for your size, the weapon's going to do less damage. If you
Right.
try and like use a longsword, you can't use the longsword. It's a human size in one hand. You have to use two hands.
Right. Well, I mean, it's the size is not strictly.
Yeah. No, I'm
Weapon-based.
just saying that in general. But in terms of this, basically what I'm the rule, if you're trying to help somebody lift something that's like fairly heavy or large, then you will not be able to assist people, and you'll be at a disadvantage for those things.
Let's ask Silver to help. He's here. He can help.
I mean, I can help.
Silver's job is not to help lift things.
Anyway, so
That's
who's
on you
standing
guys.
guard?
Silver is keeping watch.
I'm floating around keeping watch
Okay.
with Silver.
I'll roll an athletics check to try and lift the thing.
I think somebody is assisting you.
I'm assisting.
Okay, so you get advantage. So you get to roll twice. I don't know if
You can
roll
roll.
the advantage button or normal button again.
You can just make a second check, and we'll take whichever one is highest.
Yep. Okay. So you manage to lift it up. You get down. You and Morians work together and start lifting the piece of wood up. The ground underneath, if you guys have ever like lifted a large rock after it's been sitting on the ground for a while, you know how there's like insects and creepy crawlies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what
That's
kind of what you see here as you lift the wooden section up and flip it over on its side. It's definitely too big to kind of keep it up and whatnot, but there's very different like critters. There's like spiders and other things. Nothing like major that's dangerous or whatnot. But as you flip it over, you notice something about it. This board has several metal strips running across. This section is roughly sized, because as you lift it up, it's a lot bigger than what you had originally seen. Is kind of the big thing here. It's roughly 20 feet wide by 30 feet long.
Shit. That thing's fucking huge.
Damn, I'm stronger than I thought I was.
And it has strips of metal running along it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a door if I've ever seen one.
I was actually kind of thinking door as well, but it would be a Titan-sized door. I don't think we're going to be able to get this back. What type of metal is it? Is it valuable?
It's regular kind of wrought iron.
Okay, no, that's
it's
not
not
worth
worth
taking back.
No. It's probably this. It seems like it's a gate more than just a door, like just a full blown gate,
Or a wall.
or maybe like one of the gates got fucked up and they just tossed it out here. I don't know.
You guys have been
That's a long
walking
way to
for
talk.
some time. Not that necessarily means anything, because you could still be a stone's throw from the gate. That has happened before. But you guys have been walking for some time.
And there's nothing written on it?
Nope.
Nothing underneath it?
Nope. Not that you see.
Okay.
Weird.
I'm ready to move on.
You can do investigation if you would like. So for those who are new, you have two kind of things that you can do when you're looking. The first one is perception. Perception is like, I'm standing out in the middle of the park. I look around. I see a fountain over there. I see several trees. I see a dog running. That's perception. Investigation is like, I'm standing in front of a bookcase. I'm going to investigate the bookcase. So I'm doing a very detailed examination as I'm running my hands over, being cautious. I look through, check the books, look behind the books, things like that.
I'm gonna investigate it. This seems odd, and this is our first time out here.
How many books have you read of, like history and things like that? Are you an avid book reader?
More than, I would say I'm more so than the average person.
Okay, that's fair. Go ahead
definitely.
and roll me history at disadvantage.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yes, I am fairly old
yeah,
relative to everybody else here, but I spent most of my time working in the church and focusing on the presence rather than the
that's
past.
why it's disadvantage.
What a better way to fucking learn history.
So you guys had managed to, as you work your way up, you managed to, with the two of you helping, you had pushed it over and looking on there. Morians, as you investigate, you're looking at this. The metal bands are spread apart at an equal distance. It looks like this board was once possibly curved, looking like the top portion curved down to the bottom, but the time and weight of the earth over top of it has kind of flattened it out. There is a slight spring, so when it had hit the ground, as you flipped it to its side, the bottom portion, the long side, which is roughly 30 feet tall, so it's 20 feet wide by 30 feet tall, the the 30-foot section kind of has a slight bend, very, very minor, as it's now free and away from the weight of the earth that was pressing over it. This was obviously the outer portion of whatever this is, and the boards, as you're kind of noticing, it's difficult to tell because of how long this has been in the ground. But the boards are kind of running in a very vertical fashion. So from top to bottom, as they're held together, there are very minor cracks or gaps between them, outside of like what's obviously rotten stuff or rotten through or anything like that. On one side, along the top section, there is a very, very faint, almost hard to notice detail of 3 letters, STR. And you can only, you only know what those are by running your finger, because as you were like examining and whatnot, as you're running your fingers across, you felt the small grooves where those letters were. Of course, you're not entirely sure. You think it's STR.
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 So, do the metal bands run perpendicular to the wood boards? How they're lined up?
Yes. Yes, they do.
Okay.
STR strength.
You just think that they're STR. And roughly
Do the metal bands end?
In common, right?
in common, yeah. Do the metal bands what?
Do the metal bands end at the, I guess, end of this wooden object, or does it look like it's a part of something larger?
It definitely looks like it's a part of something larger.
Ooh, good call. Like there would be hinges.
No hinges, no. It looks like on the sides, the bands look like they had been ripped off. So there's just slight jagged metal fragments.
So violently?
Yeah.
And these STR that I found, is that positioned a giant what?
A giant wheel or barrel.
Yeah, I could see that. Okay, so I found the letters STR. Does that end in a place where it could conceivably have been continued on a missing part of this thing?
Yes.
What if we look for more pieces of this kind of? If we imagined it that we flip, if we imagined this as we found it, if we just look in the direction that the word may have continued in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like look around for more pieces of it.
Yes.
Guess I'll start stabbing the ground.
Okay. So you start stabbing the ground. Go ahead and roll me a flat D20. I'm gonna go use the bathroom. Be right back.
Oh God.
I just roll a D20.
Yeah.
So if you just type in /R20,
Where do I type it in?
like so.
Yeah.
Okay, now if you're in the chat,
That's
what you want to type in. Yeah, the Foundry chat.
Okay, because there's like 12 chats going on. Did that get it to the DM or GM?
Yeah.
Yep, we got it.
Okay.
So what do you guys think about the STR letters?
I'll be right back as well.
It could mean strap, as in it was part of the metal strap.
STR.
Could be like name of a city or like whoever owned that thing.
All right, I'm back.
About time.
I know. I had to really use the bathroom. I had so much drinking. All the drinking. All right, so what are you guys doing?
Well, we rolled a d20.
We're discussing the.
Okay. Bane will BRB. All right,
Yeah,
so
I guess I was just.
you stab the ground multiple times. How far away of this are you going?
I'll probably walk around like 50 feet in either direction of the
Okay.
where the ripped portions of the board are.
Okay. So you first making your way, and sure enough, roughly about 20 feet as you're kind of stabbing the ground, in a spot, you hit kind of a thud.
Ooh. Oh, boys, it looks like we got another one.
Ooh.
Try and flip it over again. Or dig it up and flip it over.
Okay.
Yep, let's take this one up.
This one's a little bit more tricky to get through. This one's definitely like it's not discolored at all or whatnot. It's definitely way more rotten than the other piece was. But it's also sitting next to several bushes, so you have to like kind of really clear the shrubs away from it in order to get it up. Go ahead and roll me athletics. If somebody's assisting you, roll me with advantage.
I'll assist.
Anyone assisting? Okay.
Okay. You guys, so it does take a little bit more time. Like I said, you're moving stuff aside or whatnot. You do manage to get it up off of the ground. The vines and the roots and whatnot that are kind of covering over it break away and snap away as you lift it up and then flip it over. Again, creepy crawlies are amongst there. A bunch of spiders scurry away. Other different critters burrow into the ground. Nothing kind of dangerous or major or whatnot.
All right, I'm back, guys.
Board looks very similar. The board looks very similar to the one you found before. However, it's more heavily rotted. There's definitely the same bands. The steel bands are probably the best portion of this, as the wood's pretty worked through.
Shit.
Are there any more letters on this one?
If you'd like to check, you need to roll investigation.
I would like to do so.
So you work your way across the board. This piece is roughly about the same size, so 20 feet wide, 30 feet long. From what you could tell, it's definitely no longer fully that size, just with how much it's been rotten out. You are unable to really find any letters, but it definitely looks like it was part of the same piece, like this was a continuation. You're not entirely sure with how the edges are rotten on both pieces. You're not entirely sure if these pieces were put together or there was a piece that was in between them.
I was thinking maybe we might find the letters B-E-X on this one.
Oh,
Yeah,
I get
you
it. FEX.
Do you guys want to keep looking around here? See if we can find any more pieces, get an idea of what this might have been.
Sure. Yeah.
See if anything tries to kill us.
Check out the other side, or I guess keep on proceeding like 50 feet down.
I'm trying to reconnect, but it's not allowing me to, by the way.
Reconnect to what?
Kind of like I'm playing Battleship.
Did it disconnect you from the thing?
I accidentally closed it whenever I was sitting down.
And you can't reconnect?
Not with that IP address that's in chat.
It should still be the IP address.
Rip.
Well, I think I was clicking the wrong one. That was the issue.
Nice.
All right. So
Fire back in.
explain to me how you're doing this. Are you working your way to like the left from the first piece, working your way to the right, or working your way up and down?
I think we should like fan out and like a little bit, you know, and then walk, see if we can find anything else.
Yeah.
Let's
I
fan
guess-
out. I'm going to send one familiar with each other person in the party just to make it difficult to get lost.
I was gonna use perception just to. I think we've made a little bit of noise. We've been here for a little while, so I just want to see what's going on around us.
Okay, so you guys are making your way around. Not really finding any luck so far.
What about in the trees?
Trees
above us?
around? You know, they
Also,
look
like above us, would they have with these pieces of wood like been a construct up there?
they definitely do not look like they came from the trees.
Okay. Bunch of
It
tree
came
house
from outer space.
masters.
Hmm.
Can you give me a sense of what size the letters which I found were? Are these like a few inches?
Yeah, so they are like probably about a foot. So a foot tall and 4 inches wide.
Hmm.
So fairly large in general.
Hmm. And then
I'd like to go a little bit farther afield, looking for more pieces of this.
Okay.
Sort of prodding the ground with my staff as I walk along.
Okay. What is everyone else doing?
I guess I'll walk in the opposite direction of Orions, pretty much doing the same thing with my spear.
Okay.
We can
I'll be just
kinda
hovering
like
around,
play
seeing
battleship.
So
see if I can see anything.
Morians and Lewis, go ahead and roll me a d20.
Piece of shit.
It's not
those,
nice to talk about Cody like that.
those who are watching, looking around and everything, go ahead and roll me perception.
I already did.
Yeah, Cody. Sorry.
Again, Flicker Tree, you need to send it. Oh, it is sent to us. Why is yours a different color? Everyone
Because
else's
I am awesome.
is like a reddish tinge, and yours is greenish tinge.
Because I am awesome. That's why.
Weird.
No, it's perfectly fine.
That is really
Weird.
Did you
Weird.
did you do a private GM roll?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, can you Flicker Tree? Can you see what your check was?
Yes.
Okay, that's why. You did a private roll instead of a blind.
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to be doing a blind roll.
Ah.
Wow.
Am I supposed to be doing blind rolls? I would like to see
Yes.
what I roll.
Blind
No,
rolls.
It adds it to the.
It adds
Experience.
to it. That way you don't see what you get.
That's dumb.
Why is it dumb? You don't
In
know
real
what you
life-
got.
In real life D&D, if you roll a dice, you
This
see
isn't
your
real
lucky
life.
This
die.
isn't real
We
life,
get to
D&D,
use
homie.
we get to use all the advantages that we get here.
Oh, that's dumb. I'm not
This
doing
is
that.
what? No.
You have to.
Stupid.
Everyone else is doing it.
That's so stupid.
It's really not. I
There
think
will
it's
be
really
things
cool.
when you get to see your rolls. Like when it comes to combat, I'll let you see all your rolls and shit.
That's so stupid.
This
believe
adds
it.
to the mystery.
Aspect.
Does your character know
Damn
if
it.
they succeeded or not?
No,
What?
not until he describes
um,
what's happening.
Anyways, so as you guys are making your way around, let's see, Lewis,
Yeah.
are you heading like more west or more east from those two boards that you found?
Have you ever played you know the game Battleship?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going in along the line that the boards were found, just in the opposite direction of Orin's.
He
Okay.
moves to A7.
So you're working, we'll say, to the west. Morans,
Yeah,
are you working to the east?
Yep.
Okay. So Lewis, you do again, and this one's a little bit further away. You do manage to hit something. Again, a wooded piece, and you scrape it away. It's much smaller. It's like a top kind of portion. Looks like very jagged edges along one side. Morians, you're not seeing anything. We're not finding anything as you're moving your way through.
That penalty to wisdom.
I guess I'll investigate that little board, see if I see anything cool.
Okay. You by yourself, you're able to easily get it out. It's roughly the size of a buckler, give or take, maybe a little bit bigger. Shattered edges along if you're looking at it straight up, it's along the bottom edge, bottom up to the right. The left side looks to be fairly rotten from it and whatnot. But it kind of looks like it just, there's more might be around it or have been around it.
Okay. I guess I'll just search in like a 20-foot perimeter or 20-foot area.
Okay.
See if I notice anything in the leaves or any distortions on the forest floor.
There's no distortions, but you do manage to find more of the section. This, you managed to kind of piece together roughly the same size area as the other two boards that you found. Again, you're further away. But all of them are kind of in pieces, as if something like, like if you smash through a wooden wall or a wooden door and you've got like the pieces and whatnot of it. That's kind of what this looks like. They're in a tight area together, but they're not close to each other. There's like a sizable gap amongst them.
Interesting.
Morians, you can roll me a d20 again. What was that,
Wait,
Lewis?
This is still in line with the other two pieces?
Yeah. Yep. Well,
Okay.
so it's in a rough line. The area is much bigger, just because of the fragments. As we know, those other two were fairly intact.
Mm-hmm.
Morians, as you're moving your way, through and whatnot, you notice something kind of in a shrub, like a shrubbery or whatnot. It's kind of odd.
Shrubbery?
And a shrubbery. A shrubbery! But there's multiple different shrubberies and bushes kind of in the area along the line, but you see kind of a piece that's off of a tree. It's kind of leaning up against a tree. Kind of looks odd to you, as if like it's not quite a trunk.
Oh, okay, not the shrubbery. Okay, sorry.
The shrubbery's just around it.
Okay, I would like to investigate this piece further because it's different, and I still feel like I don't really know what's going on here.
Okay. So as you make your way through, the shrubs are making it difficult. This whole section is fairly covered. Go ahead and make me a survival check.
Survival. Actually, if it's fairly covered, what if everything is fairly damp around here, correct? It would not I would not have to worry about fire spreading.
Well, that's the thing about the forest is fires typically don't spread very far anyways, no matter how damp or not it is. For the most part,
Okay.
this area is not like overly damp. It's moist, but it's not super dry.
I would like to try and clear away some of the obstructing shrubbery using Sacred Flame.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a d20. All right, yeah. So you're able to work your way through. You start kind of blasting in different spots.
So
as
anyways,
it, yeah. So it starts to burn away. This is a little bit of going, so it'll take a little bit of time. Just with how big Sacred Flame is, it's not a very big spell.
okay.
What is the rest of the party doing? We'll start with you, Bane.
They went south. They went east and west.
Yeah, they went east and west.
I meandered south.
Okay.
I will be going with Nulka.
Okay. So go ahead and roll me a d20. And what exactly are you doing as you're meandering south?
Looking for more of the wood stuff. Focusing mainly on the ground to see if like something looks different, like you see like dead leaves or what have you.
Okay. So
Yeah,
both of you
same.
roll me perception. I've already got the d20 from Flicker Tree, so we don't need that anymore.
Perception. And how do you do the D20? Is it /R?
You don't have to do the d20. Flicker Tree's already got it.
Okay.
That was just for
Well,
one
how
of
do
you.
know? How do I know for future references?
I will tell you.
Oh, /R space 1.
And yeah, /R slash 1d20. All right, so as you both are walking through, from behind and to your left, you hear some kind of fire, the crackle of fire. You look over briefly and you see that Morian has been starting to blast a section of the forested area. Not unusual for her. But as you're making your way through, the area is fairly wooded. Lot of shrubs. Where you were at felt kind of like a clearing almost. Like there was definitely vegetation, but this area is very, very thick. A lot of shrub, a lot of bush in the area, and you'd have to kind of push through them.
Okay.
Is that something you want to do?
Like pushing through the shrubbery.
Yes. It's like you're just a whole bunch of bushes in kind of the spot, and there's kind of like a almost not quite a wall, but like a wall in front of you.
How
of just
tall are the
bushes.
bushes?
Fairly sizable. They go over both of your heads easily.
Well, everything goes over my head.
Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast. I would catch it.
I was wondering if anybody
they're-
was going to go there.
They're roughly like 8 to 9 feet tall,
Okay.
amongst like set between different trees and stuff.
Okay.
Gotcha.
How
I mean-
thick does it look like it goes back?
It looks pretty thick. At least
Okay.
5 feet, if not more. It's
Alrighty.
definitely with the light that
I-
you have and how thick they are together. It's hard to kind of judge any distance.
Okay. Yeah, I move through.
Okay. Flicker Tree, what are you doing? Or not Flicker. Flicker, what are you doing?
I'm doing exactly what Nulka's doing.
So you're gonna push through as well?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm kind of like on a shell.
All right. Louis, what are you doing?
I guess as I noticed, Morans is starting to blow stuff up and set things on fire. I'll just walk over to him, and just in case I need to conjure up some water and stop his flame, if it gets out of control, or
Okay.
in case we're burning something we don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Quick question. What's the fairy's name?
Flicker.
Flicker tree?
Flicker tree.
Yeah.
Dialogue time. How many familiars do you have?
0.
You can't summon anymore?
Morian's is the one who is summoning familiar.
Oh, Morian is the one that has the
Yeah.
familiars. And Morian
Yes.
isn't near me. Is there a familiar near me?
Yes,
There,
Morian's
yeah.
sent one
Yeah,
familiar with each other person.
Okay.
With
If I talk to the
instructions to
familiar,
protect.
will it telepathically talk to you?
It will let me know. Yes, it can.
I would
It
like
can-
to communicate with you. I tell the
Okay.
familiar I would like to communicate with you.
I won't be able to talk back though.
Okay. But will it give me like a sign that you're listening?
Probably.
Several of the butterflies flutter a little faster.
Okay, perfect. Could you maybe send the familiars up a little bit higher so we can kind of keep our bearings while we go through this brush, please?
One of the familiars does so.
Okay.
Awesome.
So you're assuming that the message got through somehow.
Okay, and also with the familiar, if you see something scary, wiggle back and forth. And if you think I need to go in a certain direction, like if you see something of interest, kind of go towards that direction and come back a few times.
The familiar does a corkscrew in the air as it rises up.
Okay.
They get up. How high are you putting the familiar at?
I would like it to be at 12 to 15
I was
feet.
talking
If
to
you're
Ronan.
Yeah, 10 or I think about 15 feet makes sense.
Okay. All right. So they get about 15 feet. And you guys start pushing your way through. Louis, you make your way back to Ronan. Ronan, you guys find a section of the wood kind of plank. After the brush is kind of cleared away, there's definitely some singe marks, thanks to somebody. We won't mention any names, but it's still fairly intact, especially like the other stuff. It's fairly well treated. Like this is some nice stuff, nice kind of wood. And it's leaning up against the tree. It's been covered by the shrubbery. Definitely most of the shrubbery that you're finding is a lot of the viney type stuff.
So this is another. So underneath the shrubbery, it's a smaller piece of wood, but it's fairly nice quality, and it seems to be of the same type as the others that we found.
Yes. Yep. This one's more dug into. So it probably could be 30 feet high, but it's definitely more dug into the ground. So you're only really getting, you're only really seeing like 8 feet of it.
So instead of laying flat, it's sort of sticking out of the ground.
Yes. Yep.
Can I roll investigation to try and see if I can imagine how these pieces would be put together and try and get a better idea of
Yeah. I
what
would
it
love that.
look like?
While you're rolling that, all right. So you two, go ahead and roll me a survival check for Flicker and Nulka. Flicker, you have advantage
Survival
because
check.
if you're hanging out near Nulka's shell. All right, no, Flicker, you're fine. Nulka, it's definitely some going and whatnot. There's a lot of prickly pokies. You didn't really see these when you first started trying to push your way through. You didn't really see the prickly pokies, the various thorns and whatnot, just because of where they were at and they're kind of hidden, or it felt like they were, as you kind of push away. So it's pretty difficult terrain, aka. But you get about 10 feet in, kind of take some scratches and whatnot. You take 1 point of damage as you're moving your way through, just from the prickly pokies. Are you going to continue?
Yes.
Okay. So you'll continue.
I look at the little the butterfly and see if it gives.
You can't see the butterfly.
I can't.
No, the bushes that you're in are 8 to 9 feet tall, and you're making your way through. Which, by the way, you're now noticing this is more vine-like.